Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's doing well. I'll just let the welcome intro play out for a few seconds. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. With Guthrie, we're all wanting answers. We're all wanting to find a different avenue of what's happened to Nancy Guthrie, because it is a mystery. It's been going on for over 4 weeks now. It's entering its second month of what's happened to her since her disappearance. I was watching earlier Fugitive TV. Now, I have been following him on both of my accounts, my normal YouTube account and then this new crime one. And what I just listened to, that there is some basis to it. You know, there could be some reality to it. So I'll just go ahead and play his video on it. I won't, excuse me, because my voice is all froggy this morning. I won't speak too much during the screening of this, but please go to Fugitive TV's YouTube channel and subscribe to him and like his videos, because I am using his video on this because I think this might have some basis to it. And but I'll let you all see what you think. So I shall just go ahead and start.
Mom of 7 remain unanswered tonight. The Mesa Police Department says it's investigating the death of 32-year-old Maria Lewis.
Before I carry on, it does say about the mother of 7 shot dead, but carry on listening and you'll discover whether or not what Fugitive TV says, if there's any meanings in it. Everyone will have a different take on this. So, you know, don't just take my take on it. Don't take his take on it. But we're all searching for new leads to this.
Saturday morning.
But they won't say who the shooter is or if any charges will be filed.
Yeah, guys, there are so many questions surrounding this and what led up to it.
Neighbors Monday remembering Maria Lewis, whose husband described her to ABC 15 as a loving mother.
I always see her taking care of the kids. She got 3 small girls. She got more kids, but I always met when she was taking out the 3 girls, taking care of the babies. And
an emotional moment outside Nancy Guthrie's home Monday. Savannah, Annie, and her husband Tommaso visiting that growing memorial, seen in this video, laying yellow flowers and a card with this handwritten message.
It says, Tucson, Phoenix, Russian crime ring busted, officials say. All right. I don't know if that's him or not, but a Russian mafia, if that is him, I mean, think about it. He could look Arabic. Look at him. So we have a mother of 7 out of Mesa, Arizona, who was unalived on a neighbor's front porch. And it's very weird. And the neighbor's not in jail. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, who the neighbor is, plus Nancy Guthrie. On my last video, I told you how she's actually associated with a woman from Iran who is very wealthy, and how some addresses connect to hers. And not only that, there's some things I found out about the suspect that could possibly link to even other Middle Eastern connections. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV.
Definitely.
Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel, where we take a look at cases, and we take a look at cases of missing people, unsolved crimes, or anybody that needs help solving something. I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I did it for 15 years. I lived in all these different countries under different names. So you could say I have experience of evading the law, or experience of not wanting to be found. So because of that, I know how to find people, or know how to find what doesn't want to be found, you can say. Well, what we're going to talk about today is 2 separate cases, right? First, we're going to get into the case of 32-year-old mother of 7. Her name is Maria Lewis. Maria Lewis is out of Mesa, Arizona. Now, I'm going to quickly tell you exactly what happened. Well, what we know that's happened, because we don't know some of the details yet. But Saturday morning, February 28th, 2026, she was unalived. Now on YouTube, we can't say the M word, especially if you're a small channel, because they flag my channel.
Exactly.
And they don't spread it out.
I think
And
even if
hard
it's
for me
a
to get
large
lot of
channel, they do it.
subscriptions. Thank you, you guys. You guys have helped me reach the 20,000 subscribers in the last 8 months. And one of the reasons why is because you guys have been watching, commenting, helping, and everything else, but also because I kind of follow the YouTube guidelines. So because of that, they're kind of helped me push out further. Well, Maria was, like I said, Saturday morning, February 28, 2026. So this past weekend. Now, here's the key details. The incident occurred near Ray and Ellsworth Roads in Mesa neighborhood. Now, I know the exact home. I know the neighbor's exact home, but I'm not going to put that on blast. I don't do that here unless, you know, they are already doing it. I'm not going to do that, especially because the victims and they live right next door to each other.
Smart thinking.
The victim's husband indicated she went for a walk around 2:30 a.m. and was later found unalive from a bullet wound on a neighbor's doorstep. The neighbor lives right next door. Okay. Now, family members state that the next door neighbor was the one who used his weapon and is claiming the incident was an accident, according to reports. So the neighbor is saying it was an accident. Now, here's the interesting thing. The Mesa police confirmed they responded to a welfare check. Okay. A welfare check, which I find is odd. So they weren't, I guess, reporting to a 911 call of an individual, you know, being shot. They were responding to a welfare check.
In the early hours of Saturday morning, police say they responded near Ellsworth and Ray and pronounced a woman dead at the scene. Her family tells us it was Maria.
And I drove and they had it all taped off with like 7 cop cars.
Her husband says Maria was on a walk around 2:30 a.m., which he says was not unusual for her, but says Saturday morning she was shot by a next-door neighbor. A source telling ABC 15 the shooter in this case works as an investigator for the Arizona Attorney General's office. Spokesperson for the AG's office telling me today an employee was placed on administrative leave this weekend pending the Mesa Police Department's investigation.
And when they got there, found a woman deceased on a, from her wounds. No arrest or suspects have been officially announced by police of a March 2nd, and the investigation is still going. The family has hired an attorney and is seeking answers while mourning the loss of, the mother of 7, Maria. Well, we're going to get into who the person is that possibly lives next door and exactly what happened. Now, we don't know exactly what happened, but what I can tell you is allegedly there was an altercation at Maria's house with one of her family members. They're not saying who. They're not saying if it was one of the kids. They're not saying if it was the husband. They're not saying anything, but they're saying it was an altercation that took place first with Maria with somebody else that was in her house. And after the altercation is when she left. And then, later on is when they found her unalived on the doorstep. All right. So this information is from a police scanner. Keep in mind, all this is in the morning. So instead of saying AM, I'm going to let you know this is in the morning. Right? So it starts at 3:09 AM. Is it secure for them? Then 3:11 says, or at 3:11, coming near, please copy. 3:15 says secure, and it gives a code. 3:17, it says subject says his weapon is secure in his room, and he's here at the front door. So subject is the person who used his firearm. All right. So 3:38, it says my subject is a police officer. So whichever officer is on scene and, talking to everybody else, he says the subject, meaning the person that used the weapon, is a police officer. All right. Then it goes on to say about an hour later, so 3:09, then at 4:04, almost an hour later, it says same 1141. The shot victim is going to be on the front sets of the residence. If fire wants to respond up there. So he's letting them know that she is on the porch, on the front steps. Then 4:14, copy, we're en route. Then 4:20, 11:41, fires 97. We're doing chest compressions. 11:41. I'm not sure what the codes are. I'm just taking a wild guess. I'm thinking 1141 is probably the subject, and then fires 97 is probably the weapon, and they're doing chest compressions. And it says 428, copy that. Like I said, I'm not sure. I'm just taking a guess on that one, all right? Now, the person who lives next door, his name is Lance Marin. I'm not going to show you guys his picture because he's not officially charged yet, and there was a report that already released his name. But he's the person that lives next door. Now, what makes this interesting is he actually works for the Attorney General's office for that state. He's supposedly a private investigator or some sort of investigator for that state. So they live next to a person who was an investigator for the Attorney General. So some people are wondering if one of the reasons why he didn't go to jail is because he works for the Attorney General's office. Not only that, as you see right here, it says my subject is a police officer. So they're saying that he's in law. They also noticed that the Ring camera door, he has a Ring camera, it's gone. And supposedly he already replaced all the tiles or everything that she bled on the house. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say replacing any of that stuff is bad. I'm not going to say, oh, why he do that? Because, I mean, he's still living there, right? If you're still living there, the police leave your house. Would you want to see someone else's blood matter or whatever it is, you know, on the front porch of your house?
You would,
so,
would you?
yeah, I can see why he replaced it. And I can also see why some people are looking like, he replaced it so soon. You know, I can see both sides to that. The Ring camera, we don't know if he took it off. We don't know if it's taken off for evidence. That part we don't know, okay? And why it was taken off, because you don't need the Ring camera to get the footage. But as we are learning with the Nancy Guthrie case, maybe so, because they took the Nest Cam off her door. But they still got the footage, though. Well, so some people are wondering, like, why Marie got into an argument with her or whoever it was inside the house and then left at 2 a.m. in the morning. There's a lot of speculation going on exactly what happened. I really don't know because a lot of it's just online gossip and rumors. So I'm not going to say any of that. You guys are welcome to comment below and let me know what you think, you know, is going on with that and why you think he didn't go to jail. Well, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read you the Arizona law, okay? Because there is a law. And I was just curious because when I see these type of incidents, I don't just go off of speculation. I like to research and look it up. So I want to see possibly why they didn't arrest him. We know he works for Attorney General's office. So of course he's going to have a leg up on everybody else. But is there another reason? So this is also what I found. So this is what it says for that state in Arizona. It says you may legally use your weapon, okay, on someone at your front door if you reasonably believe it immediately necessary to prevent from them harming you, whether it's taking your life, assault, kidnapping, a burglary, or arson. All right, allowing for deadly force to protect your home and allowing you to stand your ground. But the force must be proportional to the threat, and you cannot have provoked this. So basically it's saying that you are allowed to protect your home if you feel your life is in danger. Anybody else in your house is in danger.
Should be the same wherever you live.
Like that. But you're not allowed to provoke it. Okay, so you can't just go outside or, you know, provoke it and then they come to you. You can't provoke it. So it means they have to start it. They have to come to your house. So there is a law with that. So reading this law, I'm not saying this is why he did not get arrested. Of course, he works for the Attorney General's office, right? But at the same time, it makes me wonder, did he say that she was a threat? Did she have any sort of weapon? Was she banging on the door? What was she saying? We won't know until the Ring camera footage comes out, or if they ever release it, we don't know, right? So right now we're all wondering what could have happened. Why would a woman go knocking at somebody's door around 2-something a.m. and end up getting a bullet in them and found, you know, on the front porch?
Does make you wonder.
And I'm not saying this person did it, but if they did do it, why would a man do that? I don't get it. Now, they didn't say if he shot through the door. They didn't say if he opened the door and shot. They didn't say any of that. But it makes me wonder exactly why he would do this, why he would feel threatened. And did they already have issues with him? Was there
A few months back, I remember watching a story, and I can't remember this old lady's name. She lived in an area where there was families with small children, and she reckoned the grass just outside her garden, where she had like a wall around the garden, and then beyond that was a grass area. Now she put up a no trespassing sign on that because she didn't like the children keep on kicking balls and that. And then after sort of like several arguments with the children, she apparently threw a roller skate at one of the children. And then when the mother went to go to her front door to speak with this old lady to sort of say, you know, why did you do this to my child, whatever. Apparently, before this old lady opened her front door, she shot straight through the front door and shot the mother. And the mother unfortunately passed away, leaving the children motherless. Now, when I saw that, and it's also on Netflix as well, when I saw or heard that the mother, this old lady, had shot through her front door, and that, how did she know it was the mother there or a child there? You know, so people do shoot through doors. I didn't think it was a thing till I saw this documentary and then saw it on Netflix. But, you know, I wouldn't shoot through a door. I mean, in the UK here, we're not allowed to drive guns and things unless you're doing target practice like I do, which is an indoor sport. But, you know, I don't know anyone in the UK that maybe have had a gun illegally and someone's knocked the door and they've shot straight through the door without seeing who's there. Or maybe if you've got Ring cameras or Google cameras, you might be able to see from an app who is at your front door.
issues already going on with him and them? Was there any sort of issues going on? You know, neighbors beefing with each other? Was there any sort of infidelity? Was there anything going on between these two houses for this to take place? You know, because for him working for the Attorney General's office and being an investigator, I mean, yes, we have corrupt police. We do. We have all kind of
We
things,
have it in
people
the
out
UK
there, right?
as well.
But just to randomly just do that, and also for her to randomly not be knocking at his door at 2-something a.m. after arguing with somebody in her house. So something is not adding up. They didn't tell us the whole story. But I figure I bring that to you. My condolences go out to the family. This should not have not happened to her.
Definitely not.
Hopefully we find out the truth soon. Now let's get going with Nancy Guthrie.
Here we go, guys. What
So-
Ray says is excellent. I think it's really an insight to what, you know, who may be involved and what maybe possibly happened. And I know there's all sorts of conspiracies out there and theories, and you know, the law are not telling everyone everything, which is understandable. I mean, they got to protect a lot of their tips or their you know, if they've got a suspect in, you know, in sight, they're not going to tell the public, oh, we think is this person, that person. So I think what Ray's got to say is really good. So like I said, please go to his channel and like and subscribe if you can. I say he's a new YouTuber. He's done really well for himself in like the last 8 months with subscribers, and I would like the same. So, you know, if you could like my channel as well, I would really appreciate that. And I'd say thank you in advance, because I believe manners go everywhere. I really need the subscribers and viewers as well. You know, it helps me to grow as a new YouTube channel. So, you know, I need everyone's help, and I'm sure everybody can help me. And also, if you want to buy me a coffee, which may help me in buying documents for any news items, like sometimes if there's a court case coming up, you need to get the affidavit or arrest warrant. And some of them are not free. You do have to pay for them. And some of them is quite expensive and that. So, you know, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, the link's scrolling down below. I'd really appreciate that. And maybe you will be the first person that buys me my first coffee, because so far I've had no one buy me a coffee. And I love my coffee as much as I like drinking my water, but I do love coffee. But anyway, let's get on to the exciting bit. And he's got so much information on this. It's unbelievable.
We have Nancy Guthrie. We have the video of the family going and paying respects to a memorial that's right outside their house.
An emotional moment outside Nancy Guthrie's home Monday. Savannah, Annie, and her husband Tommaso visiting that growing memorial. Seen in this video, laying yellow flowers and a card with this handwritten message. Though we are surrounded by so much darkness and uncertainty, our love burns bright. We love you, Mommy. We miss you so much. Savannah later sharing this image on Instagram, saying, "We feel the love and prayers from our neighbors, from the Tucson community, and from around the country."
My condolences do go out to Nancy. I don't think her life, you know, I personally don't think she's alive.
Exactly right.
And I don't think her life, you know, had to be expandable or taken for some reason that we're still trying to find out. But I will say, I don't know. I find it odd that they're out there, you know, walking out outside the house filming this. I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about the whole situation, this whole thing. Okay, this whole thing. My last video, I told you guys that I found a connection between Nancy and a woman who is from Iran. Now, this woman, I'm still not going to say her name. I'm just going to label her as Tina, but she has a Middle Eastern name, okay? First and last name. She's also married and also has a partner who's Middle Eastern. Now, her husband's Middle Eastern and her partner's Middle Eastern. And now the husband and partner, two separate people. The partner is like a business partner because this woman has multiple companies. She has investment companies, runs a medical lab, and has a bunch of patents for inventions. One invention is supposed to be a lamp that destroys DNA. It breaks down the protein and microorganisms of DNA. And then some other inventions dealing with microwave wavelengths. It was so scientific, I didn't even really know exactly what was going on. All right. Well, in my last video, I told you guys about this woman. And for some reason, I did a background check on Nancy Guthrie, it shows that they shared the exact same address. And back in 2023. And I'm wondering, like, why did they share the same address?
Did anyone else know this? Because I certainly didn't know that this woman and Nancy had shared the same address. My first thought when I first heard this was maybe Nancy bought the house of this lady, so hence why they shared the same address. But listen on.
No. I was talking with somebody else and they said, well, maybe since this woman does own some medical devices and also does medical research and owns a clinic, is it possible that she was maybe living with Nancy for a month in 2023 to do medical research on Nancy? Is that possible? That could be possible. That could be why their addresses cross in 2023. And, you know, some people said, well, you know, when you do a background check, sometimes a name might cross with you never heard of before, which is true. But the issue with this is there's another relative on Nancy's profile who this Tina person also crosses with. All right. The relative's name, I'm not going to say their full name. I'm just going to say NG, but Tina and NG also cross.
I would love to know who that person
when
is.
you have multiple crossings, somebody knows this person. So I'm wondering how they know the person and what's going on. And she's from Iran. And then I told you I found this when I found this out. This was before all the Iran bombing, the war went on, all this stuff. This is before all that stuff, right? And at that time, I was like, I hope this is not going to be some reason for us to go to war. Now, I know we've always been in conflict with Iran. I know, but Think about it. It just takes one thing, right, to set it off. Think of 9/11. Supposedly, we had conflict with Iraq and Saddam, and then 9/11 happens. Oh, let's go invade because they have, all these weapons of mass destruction, So there's always some sort of reason. Then we go invade Afghan. There's always some sort of reason, even though we had tipping points with these countries, whoever it is, but there's always, oh, this is the reason. Let's do it now. So at that time, I was thinking, I hope this is not a reason to go, I didn't think nothing of it. Never mind. And then the guy Zach, who people accused of at first and thought he was driving the Range Rover when that Range Rover got pulled over, and the guy Luke, who's doing interviews now, saying he's trying to clear his name. Everybody thought he did it. He's the one in the mask.
Many people have believed that you are the person on the surveillance video, the abductor, the masked person. Is that you?
It's not me. I don't see the resemblance of it looking like me.
really
but
does.
absolutely not. I have nothing to do with this case.
A lot of people thought it was Zach driving a Range Rover because when you go to Zach's Instagram account, it shows that he worked with, I think it was MG Motors, and MG Motors is where the Range Rover came from. Zach is saying that MG Motors is just his friend's company, okay? It's just his friend's company, and he worked for the friend and worked for the company, but he wasn't driving the Range Rover. Well, Zach is Middle Eastern too, and he's got a Kuwait flag and a Jordan flag on his Instagram account, right? So then you have that Middle Eastern connection, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to add it up. And in my last video, I told you about, you have Luke, and then you have Kayla, okay? Kayla, people were trying to wonder if Kayla was related to Nancy because there's rumors that she's related to Nancy. Well, I came across this post right here, okay? This post right here where it says, you can read it for yourselves, all right? What do you think? Is this real? This is a Facebook post. So if you're looking at this post, then there is a relation to Nancy. And some people asked me like they were confused on who Kayla was. So I'm going to tell you who Kayla is. Kayla is Kayla Noel Day. All right. Kayla Noel Day was arrested. I believe it was February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. All right. When she got arrested, that's when everything broke loose.
Involved in the case. It wasn't just Luke who was detained and his name posted everywhere, but also his mom's. Both were released in the case and now sat down to explain why they were questioned by deputies and FBI agents in this investigation at all. It was a dual SWAT operation back on the night of February 13th. While Luke Daly was detained outside Culver's with his Range Rover searched and towed away, his mom Mary was detained at their home not far from Nancy Guthrie's, while agents searched inside. Both Luke and Mary say they weren't given a lot of answers as to why they were being investigated while sitting in the back of a police car for hours. For Luke, despite getting released that same night and telling us he's gotten his Range Rover back, many online still believe he matches the physical description of the abductor on that surveillance video and suspect he may be involved in her disappearance.
When she got arrested, Luke got pulled over in the Range Rover. Then Luke's house got also raided where Luke's mom lived. Now, Luke and Kayla supposedly allegedly know each other because last year, Luke and Kayla were arrested together in a Walmart parking lot in Arizona. All right.
See?
So they were both arrested in a Walmart parking lot for drugs and things like that. And because of that, Kayla, I guess, was either on probation or parole. That part I can't really get, clarify. But I do know, or I think bond. She hasn't even, the case is not done yet with her. I don't know if it's done with Luke, but I know with her it's not done yet. It's still ongoing. And I have the paperwork on Kayla and everything. Now I'm not going to show you everything because there's a lot of information on there that I got to blank out. And I learned my lesson. Every time I tried to show you guys a document that has too much information, YouTube takes my video down. All right. So I'm not going to do that. But what I will tell you guys is,
excuse me,
she was supposed to have court February 27th, okay, was supposed to. And for some reason, that court date got dropped. And there were some charges that got dropped as well. But it's not really clarifying what got dropped. Now, my whole thing was when Kayla got arrested, I'm thinking they arrested Kayla on purpose. And when they arrested her because she's already associated with Luke, okay, Luke was next in line. Now, we don't know if Kayla told something, said something, and that's why Luke got arrested. We don't know. But usually that's what happens. In my experience, they'll arrest somebody first. And once they get arrested, then they'll start taking down everybody else. All right. I can give you guys plenty of cases this has happened. The rapper 6ix9ine. A lot of people think 6ix9ine was the first one who.
At least it was called 6ix9ine and not 6'7", as I keep on hearing everybody say. And especially with my year of birth, it's 67. And every time I've sort of like say 6'7", 1967, my son will whisper 6'7". So immature.
Who got arrested, then he starts snitching everybody else. No, technically it wasn't him.
Excuse me, I think someone's at my door.
His driver that got arrested first because his driver was illegally here. So they used a reason to arrest him. And then when they arrested him, they put him on the spot and said, hey, you're here illegally. You're going to go to jail. You're going to go to prison, then get deported. Or you can wear this wire and you can go back out there like nothing happened. And that's what he chose to do. Okay. Then everybody got caught up. Well, I'm not saying this is what they did with Kayla, but I wouldn't be shocked this is what they did because this is usually what they do. Now, I told you, I don't know if this has any sort of connection, even in my last video with what went on with Iran. It's just like, just start bombing Iran and she knows it's Iranian lady, but I don't know. I just threw that out there for you guys, right? And then at the same time, they go into Mexico and then they, unalive the cartel leader at the same time, pretty much, and it's like, what's going on? And then they're talking about Nancy could be in Mexico or the people could be from Mexico. It's just too many correlations going on. Now, I told you guys from the start that I think Nancy was taken in Mexico because if it was me, I would have went to Tucson to the border because the border is only an hour and something away and you can cross. That's one of the easiest borders to cross. I've crossed it. I've done it. It's one of the easiest borders to cross. You can cross it by car, by foot, or you could take one of the underground tunnels. I pay off a coyote and they'll take you through an underground tunnel. It's not hard. With Kayla is also, well, I don't know if she's really married, but married to a person named William. This makes the story even very interesting because William went to prison for smuggling, human smuggling. And there's a big news article on him where he was on a high-speed chase, got into an accident, and the result was an older lady passed away due to this accident. So he went to prison. I think he's out now. As far as I know, he's out now. And that's Kayla's husband, right? So you have Kayla's connected to Luke, who they were already transporting drugs, whatever they were doing. Luke gets arrested in a Range Rover over the whole Nancy Guthrie thing, and everybody's blaming that he's the one in the mask. Then you have Kayla's husband. So I don't know if she's playing both these guys. I don't know. William, who's nobody's talking about, but he was a human smuggler and did prison time for it. And not only that, William at one time employed, this is how close this ring is, employed Stellar Piercings Inc. Okay? Stellar Piercings Inc., which only lived 2 blocks from Carlos Palacios in Rio Rico. All right? Now, when we say Carlos, we're not talking about the Carlos who's on TV right now trying to clear his name. We're not talking about that Carlos. There's actually a different Carlos. So when Carlos first got arrested, some people, I don't know how it got out there, but when Carlos first got arrested, before we knew it was him, some people put out a different Carlos, and they were saying this Carlos already is on the offender list. Okay. Well, that Carlos that wasn't arrested, the one that's on the offender list, knows Kayla's husband, William. William employed him for some reason. So did somebody put out the other Carlos by accident?
Can you see where Ray's going with this? It sounds really confusing, and like the my voice, like the family tree, you know, and connections. And I think he's got a point here. I might be wrong. My opinion's my own opinion, same as Ray's. But I think Ray has, you know, he is on one on this one. So it'd be interesting to find out if it ever turns out to be true.
It's weird. And was the original Carlos, or I should say the Carlos they arrested who's trying to clear his name and has a lawyer now, is he really innocent not in all this and it's supposed to be the other Carlos? And remember, Carlos, the one who says he's innocent, said he was just being followed. Remember, he said they didn't pull him over. He was just being followed. He's the one that decided to pull over and be like, hey, what's going on? Then when he did that, they put him in the back of the car, searched his car, and then searched his family's house. And, you know, none of them are in jail yet. None of them are in jail. Now, we're not done yet, people. We're not done.
Here we go.
At all. Go back to Zach, who was driving the Range Rover, okay? Zach, who was driving the Range Rover. I told you Zach is of Middle East descent, too. Now, Zach was in the military, all right? He was in the military. Now, I'm not sure which country it was for. I'm not sure if it was Kuwait or Jordan, but he was in the military. Now, we all know the weapon that was in the holster, and we know the holster does not fit that weapon. And we know the weapon was some sort of semi-automatic weapon, pistol, right? Well, if you really pay close attention to it and you zoom in on it, Julia spotted this, all right? And you look at the very back of it, you know, you have the hole at the back. Now, there are weapons that have different holes and things like that in the back of it, or I should say indents. But this one looked very, very close to a
very
Carco Model
very
F.
Clever.
Carco Model F. Now, I'm not saying this is it, but if it is a Carco Model F, I'm going to search this right now and tell you who makes it and who uses it. All right, so a Carco Model F, if it is one, Carco Model F is a current enhanced F manufactured by Carco International LLC, a firearms company based in the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, part of the Edge Group. While originally designed by Wilhelm Behibitz in the UAE, current models are sold in the US and are produced by Carco USA in Boise.
I must apologize. My cat Molly, she's 11 years old. She's just sat right in front of my monitor, but she does like my microphone, and sometimes she rubs her head against it and puts me on mute. Now, I know a lot of people would like me to be on mute, but if you hear her purring through it, it's not my fault.
Idaho, okay? Known for a very low bore axis, which reduces felt recoil and a unique quick sight system. So like quick sight, as in you can quickly use it, okay?
Molly.
And the recoil is very low on it, meaning that it's when you fire it, it's not going to shoot off everywhere. Now, this sort of weapon is also used in the military in the UAE as well, okay? The United Arab Emirates. There's another Middle Eastern connection. So if that is true, I don't know. It's very odd, very weird. Now, I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying based off us zooming in on the weapon and looking at it and looking what it could look like. Now, it could look like a P. Ruger. I mean, it could look like a Ruger. It could be a Ruger. The problem is we really can't see the handle because the handle was so blurry. If the handle was a little more clear, then maybe we can see exactly what it is. But until now, I can only kind of see the back of, the weapon and kind of observe from there. So is it a Middle Eastern weapon, or was it produced in the Middle East? Now, I'm not, like I said, it's just these connections are very weird. Now, let's go to the Range Rover. We all know the Range Rover came from MG Motors. Zach said his friend owns MG Motors. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. So this is MG Financial Enterprises, LLC. This is the LLC for MG Motors, okay? And it gives you the registered agent, who is Mohammed Lulu, okay? Another, Middle Eastern person, where MG Motors, he did say his friend, Zach said, and Zach is Middle Eastern. So he did say his friend owns, MG Motors. Now, this is what makes it even more interesting. Another person who owns it with him is this name right here. I don't even know how to pronounce this.
John
Gorgon Erikalov. Gorgon Erikalov. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Well, you said it better.
But that's another person who owns this company. Now, if I go in here, and I'm gonna let you guys see this with me, and I search this up. Okay, I'm gonna search his name, and I'm gonna put Arizona. All right. Let's go here. It says Tucson, Phoenix Russian crime ring busted, officials say. All right. I don't know if that's him or not, but a Russian mafia, if that is him, I mean, think about it. He could look Arabic. Look at him. Look at that. Look at his face. If that's him. But it says a Russian mafia operating in the Tucson, Phoenix area has been busted after a 6-month investigation by Tucson police. The group of Russian immigrants had opened several pawn shops that were being used as fronts to traffic stolen property. Police said Tuesday the members also are believed to have been involved in burglaries, as well as weapons and narcotics violations. The bust was made after undercover officers infiltrated the group and began trading and selling purported stolen merchandise to the owners of the stores. All right. It was determined the group in Tucson was closely connected to another group of Russian immigrants in Phoenix who were operating a pawn shop there. 2 of the Tucson warrants were served at the Azalont Jury pawn shops, and it tells you where they was at. Okay. Then it gives you the names. One is Edgar Fieldman, 34, facing charges of possession of marijuana for sale, use of electronics and drug transaction. And then it tells you what happened at. Then it gives you Gorgon Arakalov, who was 23 at the time. He is facing charges of trafficking in stolen property, conspiracy to transport marijuana. He was booked into the Pima County Jail, but was released on his own recognizance. Do you people know what that means?
No.
Look, you have another person here, right? I'm explaining to you what released on your own recognizance is, on your own terms, pretty much. You have Edward, 23, who was facing charges of possession of marijuana for sale, use of electronics and drug transactions, transportation of marijuana for sale, possession. He is being held at the Maricopa County Jail. You have Gregory, and it says, I can't even pronounce this last name. He is facing charges of possession of marijuana for sale, transportation of marijuana for sale. He is being held at the county jail. Then you have Burgery, 31. He's being held at the jail. You have every single person here being held at the jail except for who? Except for Gorgon.
Molly's determined to cause
He's the only one that was released on his own recognizance. Basically, what it's saying is that he was released because he promised them he's going to reappear, and it's pretty much like signing your own bond. You're not paying anything. You promise to appear in court. Nobody has to come help you bond out. You just sign that you're going to reappear, and they let you out. Okay. So why is he the only one that got let out like that, but everybody
exactly.
else, and he's facing charges of trafficking and stolen property, conspiracy to transport marijuana.
I couldn't pretend that's a mic. Hello.
Okay. Why? You guys let me know, why do you think he was let out on his own will? Why was he let out on his own will?
Very strange.
These are the people, some of the people who were involved. Look.
Looks just like him, but a fatter face.
Interesting, right? Now you have right here, 2009, 23-year-old Russian immigrant arrested last year in connection with a Tucson police investigation of alleged Russian mafia-backed pawn shops was sentenced Tuesday to 18 months probation. Okay, Gergon pleaded guilty January 28th to soliciting trafficking of stolen goods. He admitted to purchasing 2 cases of vodka from undercover police officers after being told it was stolen. It was very stupid. So he got 18 months of probation. And they're basically saying he got charged with buying some stolen vodka. I don't know. Make this make sense.
It's difficult to
as
make
part of the probation. He must seek employment and as not associated with his family business, which involves purchasing vehicles for resale at auctions. You have a very supportive family, but one that can be taken advantage of is what one of the officers says. Right now, I see someone who's playing fast and loose. The other men, including 34-year-old Tucson resident Edgar Feldman, were indicted in Maricopa County. I can't pronounce none of these names. Maricopa County by Arizona Attorney General's office. Each is waiting trial, so they're going to trial. They went to trial. Okay, those people went to trial, but he got probation for stealing some vodka. So interesting.
Just for vodka.
That I show you guys this, that Zach, who's Middle Eastern, who everybody thought was driving a Range Rover, but come to find out he wasn't, because his Instagram says he worked for or was with MG Motors. Zach, who is Middle Eastern, who was also in the military. Not only that, the weapon in the holster could be a Middle Eastern weapon. And I'm not saying Zach did it. I'm not saying that. And then you have Luke, who was the one who really got arrested because he was the one really driving a Range Rover, who's associated with Kayla, okay? Who Kayla's still sitting in jail. By the way, there's a bond. She posted bond, and she's guess what her bond is? Her bond was $2,500. That amount sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
That was the same amount that they were offering the reward for Nancy Guthrie, that low $2,500. So that was her bond. She posted bond. I have the bond paperwork, but she's still in there. Then you have Kayla, right? Who's associated with Luke, but then also associated with this William guy who is supposed to be her husband, who went to jail for smuggling. Okay. And it's like a big connection. And then you have Zach, who's friends with the people at MG Motors. And I just pulled up one of the owners and I showed you he's was busted for this big Russian mafia ring. And he only got probation when everybody else was going to trial, and I'm not saying he told, but hey, you guys make your own connections. What's going on with that? So
there's a lot of not loose ends, but there's a lot of knitting together. And I think what Ray's coming across is quite incredible. And that, so, I was really interested in this when I started hearing this. Hence why I've used his footage. I know he's done all the groundwork and he's got mods and things that help him. I've got no mods at the moment because I'm only very, 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 very tiny in the YouTube business. But I'll only use other people's content if I think it's really good and credible. I know there's a lot of clickbait out there and AI automated stories. But I've been following Ray for a couple of months now. And like I said, because I'm using his footage and his words and voice and things, that's why I give him a shout out saying, you know, with thanks to Fugitive TV. I can't hide that he's not Fugitive TV because he's got a great big logo there. But yeah, what he says has got a lot of depth in it. So I quite like this story. And he did another one that he talked about earlier, and I shall be also using that one. We've given Ray a shout out as well for people to go to his channel, because it's so informative. It's the best information I've heard in the last 5 weeks. Well, 4 weeks since Nancy's gone missing. So, you know, how he managed to get all these connections is certainly good. He certainly puts hours and hours of research into this topic, because I've not seen anyone else come up with this type of information about Nancy. And we've all wanted to know why and who and that. So I think we're probably getting a step closer.
They're weird. And you know what you want to know something even more odd about all this? Is when you look up where they live. First of all, Zach is saying he's been in the Middle East for the last 2 years. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he's saying. But you look up where he lived at. He only lived a straight line down one road, Campbell. You take Campbell down, you're at his house from Nancy's house within 10 minutes. Straight line. Then
10 minutes.
One block from him, only one block, William lived. 1 block.
Wow.
William
Crazy.
lived. So they literally lived 1 block for each other.
Crazy.
I even did GPS walking. Okay. Walking, they could have walked to each other's place in 7 minutes.
What?
That's it.
7 minutes.
So even William lived pretty much right down the street from Nancy.
I get you, Ray. I get you.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's very, 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 very odd. I'm not saying anything. I'm gonna let you guys comment below and you can tell me what you think about this. About
Ray, you could take the tip to the FBI and you could get the reward on this, because I really think you're incredible on this. I really, really do.
And I'm still going. I found even more stuff that I'm still researching and digging into. And shout out to some of you people who have sent me some clues, sent me some things to look into. Thank you so much for that, because you guys have been tremendous. You guys have been sending me all kind of information, you know, keeping me busy and keeping me to where I need to look into this or look into that, which I have. And oh man, I'm finding so much. Now, there is a source that I'm talking to, right? And that person told me that one of the intruders, they believe is no longer with us. They believe he was deceased. They believe one of the intruders that was in Nancy Guthrie's house, I'm saying one of the intruders is deceased, but his body is over in Mexico. That's the information that was told to me.
Now that is definitely interesting, and be interesting to know how he came unalived.
Now, I don't know if this is true. That I don't know. But if that is true, does that mean they were scared that he was going to snitch? Now,
and sorry, Ray, to interrupt. Also, there hasn't been any latest ransom notes from the person that say kidnapped Nancy. So it depends when the last ransom note was sent to when this guy was unalived. It'd be interesting if it's round about the same time, a couple of days apart from each other, because if there's no more ransom notes, then pray to God there's no one that does something to be sick and do a false ransom note. It'd be interesting to see when the last ransom note was seen, to when this guy passed away. So, you know, and it might have been that guy that's unalived that was the one that's sending these ransom notes, and then he's gone, and then the ransom notes stop. So that's a, you know, that's a possibility. And at the moment, everything is theories and conspiracies and possibilities and things. But I think Ray's getting a bit closer. And I really wish I was with Ray in his hometown and to be able to do the research, because when I try and do certain researches, because I'm in the UK, I can't access every single website, and I get blocked. I tried it yesterday. I was looking for something, and it came up on my browser that because I'm out of the US, I can't view this website. You know, so it's crazy. And
I did an interview a few videos ago with a guy who's doing life in prison, and the guy currently who's doing life in prison, he all he did was abduct people. Okay, he's from South America, and down there he worked with the cartel and abducted people. Came here and ended up getting life in prison. So I did an interview with him, and he did tell me. He said during these operations, there's always somebody who's going to be expandable. He told me
definitely.
that.
Try and bring my monitor a bit closer.
He didn't say who, but he said there's always somebody that's going to be expandable, meaning they can be replaced easy. Because you always got that one person who you're scared of. They might tell, they might snitch, whatever you want to call it. But you need a job done, right? So let's let them do the job. They're going to do the job. And then after the job's done, they just don't know it. You're just using them to do the job. That happens a lot with cartels and even Islamic gangs. Happens a lot with them, okay? Use you to do the job. But I don't know. I figure I'd bring this to you guys. You guys let me know what you think. I know it's confusing, but it's so much. It is so much.
It is a lot.
You know what? I think I'm going to make a flow chart. And what I'll do is I'll have all the names and everything on a flow chart.
That sounds a really good idea, Ray. Sorry I stopped you, but with a face like that. But no, I think you should, Ray. And please share it with me as well. And that, because I like your content, man. You know, I really do.
Which makes it easier to understand. But let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any connection to this whatsoever, or is just going off in a deep end and this has nothing to do with it.
You certainly took
Thank you guys. Please like, subscribe to the channel. It has been great. Like I said, the goal now is 25,000 subscribers. We're at 20,000. We reached it in 8 months. So let's get 25,000. I think we're about, what, 4,000 away. Let's see if we can get that in the next couple months. All right. If you're new to the channel, please comment where you're watching from, city and state. I try to interact with everybody, okay? My information is always below in the box. If I forget to put in the box, go look at the video before this one. Most likely is going to be in the box, all right? So until then, please take care of one another. Watch your surroundings, all right? This is Fugitive TV. I'm out.
Yeah, so what did you all think about that? I thought it's really, really good. You know, there's a lot of information there. And a lot of hard work being put into this. I would like to see like the connection map of who's who and that, because if you can see something visually, you make more sense of it. But just being told it, you're thinking in your head, well, that person was with that person is with that person, etc. You know, you can't really draw it in your head. But if there's a map, I call them maps, but if it's like a family tree or whatever, you can visualize who's who and how they're connected much easier than trying to work it out in your brain. Or I can anyway, because I don't have a brain. But yeah, please go to his channel and give him a shout out. You know, I've left a message for him today saying I'm using his content, and I've shouted him out a few times saying it's Fugitive TV. You can't ignore it's Fugitive TV because he's got his logo there. But I will try and have a one-to-one chat with Ray, and because I like his content. You know, it is really good. And on that thing, I'm going to end this now. If you could like and subscribe to my channel, I would also really appreciate it. I think I got 18 subscribers, and I wanted to get to 100 before my 59th birthday on June the 21st. Now, I'm hoping that's possible. It might be far-fetched, I don't know. I've only been doing creation on YouTube for about 2 weeks, and I've still got so much to learn. And, you know, I have dyslexia as well. So sometimes when I'm reading documents, I can see the word in front of me, but what comes out of my mouth isn't the word that's in front of me. You know, I get all tongue-tied and things. But I think this will help me a lot better. And I think I am getting better to what I was at the very first. So, okay, then I'm out. Please put in your in my comments as well what you think of Ray's video. If you think it bears some truth, if it's rubbish, you know, please don't be afraid to say what you mean and that. But this is the best information I've seen in the last 4 weeks, and something that is actually making sense. And you can possibly see where this is going. So please feel free to buy me a coffee. My link's down below. And also, if you got any cases you want me to follow, please email me at truecrimefiles2026@gmail.com, and I will do some research into those and try and bring a video together and do one for you guys. So remember, you can always send me cases, you can always buy me coffee, but before any of those two things, please like and subscribe. And that is free. Leave your DNA on that button. You know, I don't care. Well, I do care because I want your subscriptions and I want you to like and follow me, and I like you to share my things. So on that, Trace, I'm out because I'm going to have a coffin fit in a minute. So I don't want to do that on there. Right, bye.